I want you to picture a heroic fantasy world, okay? It's filled with charismatic evil overlords, unstoppable, breathtaking beasts, and bulging muscles. Now, I want you to forget everything I said before bulging muscles.
Oh, okay.
And I want you to double all the rest.
Oh, it's a 2 sets of bulging muscles.
You're exactly right. Welcome to Trash or Trash, a bad movie podcast where we watch so you don't have to. We are your trash men. I'm James Willems.
I'm Patrick Brown.
This episode is special. This film inspired basically this entire podcast.
Yes, this was supposed to be the first episode.
It was supposed to be the first episode. We kicked it back a little bit because I don't know that we were ready to do it justice.
No.
It also taught us that even a couple of geared up twins from Rhode Island can be heroes of epic proportions. We're trashing on 1987's The Barbarians.
And let me clarify, when you say geared up, we're talking about steroids.
I'm coming back to rise again. I be the things that be the best of me. Nothing can slow me down or make me stop. 'Cause nothing stand in my way. I'm gonna rise to the top.
Yes, so The Barbarians. This film has been on our list since the very beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they existed.
That's kind of shocking.
It is shocking. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I think having seen this now, I do kind of maybe understand that this was such an abject failure at trying to push them into wherever they were trying to go.
Yeah.
And they clearly were unprepared for that. Like Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger has charisma. There's things. They just thought muscles were the common.
Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, I'm going to bend the world to my will, no matter what it takes.
Yeah,
I don't think these guys. I think these guys were shuffled onto a film set, and were like, I don't know.
For sure. I mean, they
Do
had
whatever you want.
aspirations. I dug
Yeah.
into their history a little bit, and they had aspirations and stuff like that. But this movie don't got it,
No,
and they don't got it in this movie.
They do not at all.
This film was directed by, I apologize, Ruggero Deodato.
Yes.
And written by James R. Silk.
Mhm.
So Ruggero,
Cannibal Holocaust.
Hannibal Holocaust,
Yeah.
which if you've heard about is like a mockumentary film
Mhm.
that was it depicted all kinds of horrific, ritualistic. I've never actually seen it.
I've seen it.
But I heard it looks pretty brutal, so much so that the director was arrested on suspicion of murder after it came out
Yeah.
because they thought it was real.
And it like the gore is crazy. I mean, yeah, I can see how they thought that. But the real reason that movie is upsetting is that they kill a lot of animals on screen.
Oh yeah.
And it's not fake.
No,
they
yeah.
killed those animals.
Horrific,
Yeah.
torturous animal abuse.
Yes.
I think that's probably why I've never been able to overcome my my curiosity. But regardless, this guy is considered, he's an Italian director, he's considered the father of found footage in a lot of ways.
I mean, Cannibal
This-
Holocaust is a found foot, like
Yeah.
very early found footage. It's
Yes.
definitely influential.
One of the first.
Yeah.
And you can see his love for horrifically tortured animals in this film.
Yes, you can.
Only not in the form of animals, in the
yeah.
form of men.
Yeah.
And then the writer, James R. Silk, really not a lot. I was kind of scrolling his IMDb. The standouts for me were 1983's Revenge of the Ninja.
Yes.
Is that what you were thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
too?
And the other one. The other
Ninja 3, The
yeah.
Domination.
Yeah.
I could not find a single film over a rating of 6 on IMDb.
No, which I would honestly say 6 to 7. That's where the good stuff
That's
is.
the good stuff.
You don't want anything above that. Below
Yeah.
that, you end up in this territory.
Okay, but what if you can't get to the 7? Because it's all below 6. Meaning 6 is the maximum that he has.
Oh yeah, no, that's bad.
Okay,
that's
all
bad.
right, thank you. Yeah. I think also, unless Google is weirdly screwing up results, which is possible, also a pinup artist, a really talented, celebrated pinup artist.
Really?
And
that would make sense why you only wrote 6 movies, which I don't think those 6 were enough to live off of.
but wrote some books.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, wrote some
okay.
fantasy books. Apparently collaborated on the Death Dealer franchise from Frank Frazetta.
I mean, I've heard of that.
So I think he had other things going
Okay,
on. He
yeah,
was
yeah.
a multi-hyphenate weirdo fantasy
Sure.
weirdo. But more importantly, this movie shines in its stars. And they shine bright. Richard Lynch, Eva LaRue, Virginia Bryant, who was Queen Canary.
Yep.
Who that's the only mention of her we're gonna really get as the
Yeah,
actress.
she doesn't-
Nothing.
yeah,
She's an
yeah.
Italian actress, I think.
Oh, yeah. So it's very much like a spaghetti western. Everyone is from Italy except for like 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and everyone's dubbed.
Yeah,
except for
completely.
3 people who maybe the Barbarian Brothers should have been dubbed.
Maybe should have been dubbed,
But-
but they're, how are you gonna dub their playful banter?
That's right.
And then most importantly, starring the Barbarian brothers, David and Peter Paul. They are the
Yes.
titular barbarians of this film. They play. I had to look
It's
this
like-
up. There.
yeah.
Gore and Kuchek.
Okay.
I don't know which is which.
No, you're not supposed to.
I guess not.
One is like 3 inches shorter than the other, maybe.
Yeah.
A little
Reportedly,
lighter,
it's
a little
like
smaller.
6'1" and 5'11" or
Yeah,
something, and one's a
yeah.
little bit smaller. Which that would kill me. If
Oh
I
my-
was
could you
if you were
imagine?
twins with someone and you both worked out and did the same amount of gear, and then because they're putting unless one brother not doing the full syringe
What?
when they're
Yeah.
plugging each
Do you
other.
think he's like? You think
he held back?
pulls down his pants. He's like, "All right, jack me up," and the guy.
Yeah, he's like, is that the whole syringe, brother? He's like, yeah, brother.
yeah,
he pulls
yeah.
it out and he squirts it all down the drain.
Yeah,
Doesn't get
replaces
all
it.
in there.
Damn,
To
your own brother.
Could you imagine? I'm not saying that's what
no,
happened.
that would be infuriating.
Yeah.
My younger brother is taller than me, and that's already like,
Oh, that's not good.
what are we doing
No.
here?
But
This
you have
is-
more mass. You have more lean
don't.
mass.
I
Oh.
and that's already. But like, that's a different. He's a different guy.
Yeah.
A twin.
It's
That's another guy of
it's
you.
The genetic code.
Exactly.
It's the genetic
I wouldn't be
code.
able to live with that.
Yeah. Well, either way, they were 2 bodybuilders from Rhode Island who moved to
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, kind of in the wake of Arnold Schwarzenegger's success. They saw
Yeah.
big bodybuilders were like the thing, Lou Ferrigno and stuff like that, and they said we should be able to do that. They kind of became known as the Barbarians and the Barbarian Brothers before this
Before
movie
this,
was a
right, yeah,
thing. That was
yeah.
kind of their vibe because they had long hair and they would do these crazy feats of strength.
Mhm.
They were also known as the world's strongest twins
Which
for a time.
it's cheating, I think.
It's cheating.
It's
now,
true.
Let me tell you
maybe.
this.
Okay.
They were strong.
Yeah.
They were strong. I pulled a quote here, which I want to read.
Okay. Yeah. please.
I don't know who said it, but let's just assume it came from both of them simultaneously or alternating every
yeah.
word. So we pulled up together on a motorcycle the first day, and people stared at us as if we were Martians. I'm assuming one motorcycle.
Yeah, one motorcycle.
You know, we had the jeans, the boots, the flannel shirts,
Yep.
the headbands. We walked in, we went to the bench press and started warming up. We got up to our workout sets with 500 pounds, which we could both do for a lot of sets and reps.
Okay.
That was a normal weight for us, nothing special. But the members of Gold's Gym were freaking out.
When you smell the amazing scent of Gain Flings, time stops. Your heart races. Your eyes close. And you realize you're in love.
Steve!
With a laundry detergent. Gain Flings, seriously good scent. And 50% more fresh. Now that's love at first sniff.
We built a reputation fast as these 2 incredibly strong twins. I like that they can't remember the number of sets
No,
and reps that
yeah.
they did with 500 pounds.
Let me ask you something. Gold's Gym in the 80s.
Yeah.
Peak, right? I
Or
mean,
late 70s, maybe.
Late 70s. Okay,
Early
late
80s.
70s.
Yeah,
I mean, this
yeah.
is probably late 80s, so maybe a little, but still.
Yeah.
Like, this is the place.
This is the
right?
place.
This is the Valhalla
Mhm.
if you're a bodybuilder.
Yeah, yeah.
Was everyone in the gym freaking out that they
There's
could do
no way.
500? Okay.
There's no way that
I kind of-
everyone is freaking out.
I thought maybe that was the
No, no.
case.
Some of the strongest bodybuilders, because like the thing is, Arnold is from an extremely strong era of bodybuilders,
Uh-huh.
but then they went crazy in the 80s.
Okay.
There are people like Tom Platz
Yeah.
who are just monsters, inhumanly strong monsters
Mhm.
that could do so much weight that were in
Well-
this kind of post-Arnold era.
And even looking at Arnold, it's like he still looks like a human.
Yeah.
He's obviously like
Yeah.
on something, but he looks like a human.
Yeah.
And you see guys on like the Muscle and Fitness magazines or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's
that
the
is not
age
a
of
that's yeah, that's which irrelevant to this because
Yeah,
yeah. they're essentially animals in this movie.
Yeah, I was like 500 pounds. You don't remember the sets and weights? Come on, I know exactly the most I've ever done.
figured,
I know
yeah.
exactly what I've ever done.
Yeah, and how many? Yeah.
But I did manage to find a video of
Oh.
these two men doing a strength exhibition at Disneyland in 1982, and I want to tell you, you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just Google, I think, the Barbarian Brothers Disneyland. It's chaos. It looks like Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh.
I described it as it seems like someone found footage recovered from Jonestown. The way it's shot, it's just weights moving around. They're shouting at people. At one point, there's a dog on stage. It's amazing. It's fantastic. They were both nominated for a Razzie Award that year for the Barbarians.
Yeah, I saw that. Do not respect the Razzies, but maybe you have this. Sorry, I interrupted, but
No, go ahead.
well, they showed up.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they're the first. Apparently, they're the first to ever show up.
Good for them.
But they lost.
Yeah, they lost to
So,
someone else
I don't
from some other movie that I'm aware of, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I honestly also think that what's her name, Eva LaRue, was worse because like most of them in this movie are them just kind of like, all right, fill 30 seconds
Yeah.
of you two being brothers.
Well,
and
she
it
had
sucks, but
lines.
she had-
In her defense, she had to do lines.
Yeah.
They did not. Really.
After this film, they basically moved on to straight-to-video comedies. Think Big, Double Trouble, and Twin Sitters, and that was kind of
We'll get to them all.
that was kind of
eventually.
it for it. They apparently had a 3-picture deal with Canon, which is the
Mm-hmm.
company that made this film,
Yeah.
and they made The Barbarians, and then Canon was like, "We're good."
We don't need.
They had a sequel. They had a sequel that they were going to write. They had a
they were
television
gonna
show.
write?
I think, or I don't know
Someone-
if
okay,
someone's
okay,
going to
yeah.
write it. They had a television show that they had written, and they also tried to pitch a Barbarians theme park,
I saw that.
which would have been
What
sick.
the hell was the plan there? Their dad tried to pitch it, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
What was the idea? Like those two were enough for a theme park? I would go.
I mean, I would be
But-
there in a second.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
absolutely be there in this. If this movie is any indicator, the lore runs deep,
Yeah.
far deeper than can be captured on film.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, David died or I don't know the man. Maybe fortunately, I don't know.
Who knows?
Either way,
Yeah.
neutrally, David died in 2020, but Peter is still alive.
Which we
Maybe on YouTube, maybe doing some really weird stuff.
like
Weird
schizophrenic kinda-
iMovie
Yeah.
stuff. His mirror is really dirty.
We can maybe talk about it at the end.
Yeah,
We'll save it for the
we'll,
end.
run, we'll for sure run out of time
That's
at
it,
the
yeah,
end. But
yeah.
Peter, you got to clean your mirror.
Yeah, please clean the mirror.
Other than that, I mentioned Richard Lynch, who is he plays Kadar.
He's a guy you've seen if you've watched.
He's in stuff.
Well, so the canon in the start of the movie, you see the canon intro.
Mhm.
Incredible sign.
Yeah.
If it is followed by a Golan Globus logo,
Mhm.
you're golden.
Yeah.
You are in for whatever you're about to sit through is
Mhm.
going to be good.
Mhm.
And yeah, I what the fuck was I going with?
You were talking about Richard Lynch.
Sorry,
being
yeah.
the bad guy.
He's in a ton of these.
Oh yeah.
He's
yeah.
in like every canon movie.
Yeah. If you haven't seen a canon movie, which I don't know why you're here if you haven't, he also was Wolf in the original Battlestar Galactica
Yeah,
series.
Yeah.
He's been in a bunch of TV. I'm gonna just name off things that probably appeal mostly to Patrick and I.
Mm-hmm.
Airwolf.
Yep.
The A-Team.
Yep.
Starsky and Hutch. And of course Charmed.
well, there you go.
And I mean that's pretty much it. Ava LaRue, she was like a model. This is like her first role
She
or
plays
whatever.
Ismena,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
other kidnapped child who is part of.
It's unclear.
You really had to watch it. So in the beginning, the queen or the narrator says that the Barbarian brothers and her
Mhm.
were found as orphans and raised.
Yes.
They're all separated at some point, and then it's not revealed till the end that she is that other one.
Mhm.
It's of course it is.
I as I was
But,
taking
yeah.
notes, I wrote her name down as the character that I assumed she was the whole time,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the movie, it's revealed.
Yes.
Yes. But either way, she did soap opera acting, and you said she was in CSI.
She was like a regular on CSI Miami for like many seasons, apparently.
She looks
So
great.
she did great for
She-
herself.
she's in her late 50s now.
Also,
she looks fantastic. We'd
Her
love to have you
sister
on.
was almost killed by a serial killer.
I saw that.
Yeah, which
I didn't
not
know if,
related
I was like, I
at
don't
all.
know if
No.
that's worth bringing
Total
up.
sidetrack.
But a prominent
But yeah.
serial killer who would take photographs of his potential victims
yeah.
photographed her sister, and that's in her Wikipedia, which
Yep.
can tell you as much as you need to know
Yep.
about her acting career. That's included.
Yes.
But she is a very beautiful woman, and we'd love her on the show. We've clearly run out of things to talk
She's
about.
so pretty and nice.
Everyone else is an Italian actor,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Patrick
yeah.
said, and then there's one other person that we'll mention when he gets to the Dirt Master.
The Dirt Master.
Also, you know.
Also, the Dirt Master is not who I thought it was. I thought Dirt Master was the guy we just talked about from all the canon movies. That's who I thought Dirt Master was until I went to IMDb, and then I was like, oh, it's that guy.
No, yeah, the Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
yeah. Michael Berryman.
Yep.
But it sounds like we're already kind of hinting at what this plot is, and I
Yeah.
think we should get into the breakdown right after this break.
I'm gonna rise to the top.
Down.
Yes.
So let's jump right in. You mentioned you have to start at the top.
Yeah, canon. Golan Globus.
But before that, you made note of the fact that there was an updated MGM
Yeah,
logo.
2. There were 2 MGM logos, and they're like the current MGM logos. Who is taking the time
Someone had to re-export
pop that on?
movie.
Yeah.
Someone had to re-export that movie.
It starts kind of good.
Yeah.
Like
It kinda does.
It's not, and the production value seems
No.
pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's this big chase scene on carts, and like the people are weird clowns. I think it's like so they have this tribe, which from what I can tell consists of 10 to 15 people.
Yeah, yeah.
3
3 wagons, one filled entirely with hay.
Hey. Many years ago, their king traded all of their gold for a ruby, and that ruby holds like the spark of human laughter.
Yeah, it's like creativity and
happiness.
happiness
Yeah.
and songwriting and joy.
And because
juggling.
of that, this like nomadic tribe, who are all clowns, actual like literal clowns essentially, get to travel the lands freely.
Yes.
So I guess everywhere else has tight borders, but they get to go wherever they
The
want.
Ragniks.
The Ragniks, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They're quickly attacked though.
Yeah, immediately.
It's
I
so
don't know where they're
fast, yeah.
going either. They're just going around.
Well, I think they're just going to where they're taken later. It seems like.
I did appreciate how you see, like, they're emphasizing that they're this entertainment troupe and everything that they're doing is like, when you and I aren't recording this podcast,
Yeah.
we're not always talking into microphones and like
Right. We don't. Yeah.
we're not always living our
Yeah.
existence. They're just traveling through the countryside, and the jugglers are juggling.
They're juggling.
The clowns are clowning.
Yep.
The knife throwers are There's a woman
it
on the back
moves.
of a wagon so
Yeah.
the knife thrower can constantly
Yeah.
be tossing knives at her.
They're getting their 10,000 hours in. They gotta
I
master
mean,
it.
they're good. I guess they're the
Yeah.
best of what they do, and they love what they do.
Yep.
But yeah, quickly found and pursued.
Yeah. By what's the villain's name? I
Kadar?
don't know anyone. Kadar.
I didn't.
yeah.
I had to look it up.
So
I didn't.
Kadar
I
shows
wrote
up.
him as the king the whole time.
Yeah,
in
which
my
I don't even
notes.
think he's a king. I think he like rules a small settlement.
Very
somewhere.
small. Yeah.
So he shows up with like his 3 creepy, like
I
hear
thought-
no evil, see no evil.
A guy
speak
without
no
a
evil.
mouth. His mouth is
Yeah.
all closed up. I noticed his prosthetics changed over time.
They
but-
did, and they were very visible in different colors. and-
Yeah. Then another guy who had his eyes all screwed up, and then a
Yeah.
third guy who had a unibrow. And I was like, oh, like
Which maybe
they're
his-
representing something. No. And one of the guys just disappears halfway through the movie.
They attack the jugglers, throw their juggling pins at them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goofy fighting with props.
The flame, there's a flamethrower.
Spitter,
He
yeah.
spits flame at them. It works a couple times. The strong man uses
with that, like,
a barbell
stone bar.
type thing
Yeah.
as a weapon. It
Yeah.
works great.
And they do a pretty good job and beat them, but then they ride into that pass and realize, there's like
it's a
20
dead end.
It's a
yeah.
dead end. But
Well, the Queen Canary is
Mhm.
their leader. Notices she's like, "There's no way we're
Yeah.
getting out of this." So just in case, she takes the ruby. She gives it to some random guy, and then he jumps off the wagon, and that stuntman lands bad. Or like
I think his kneecaps disintegrate.
there's no way he's getting up after that. He lands. His V's like his legs do like a V shape, and
His
they
knees
split.
Go like chicken like backwards. It's so
But then it
bad.
hard cuts to the actor like stumbling away. I'm like, no,
that's
no
a
way.
different guy.
That stuntman is done for.
Yeah, he was never gonna walk again.
Yeah.
It's the worst fall. I
It's
think I've
really
ever- yeah.
bad.
Horrible.
But they think they escape. They get caught in the pass, and it's a dead end.
Yeah, they're
And-
kidnapped.
Mhm.
Queen Canary offers herself, her body to Kolok.
Well, she's
or
resistant
Korok.
at first because they're like,
Yeah.
he's the Kadar. He
Kadar.
comes out and he
Mhm.
says, "You're my queen. I want to marry you, but I also know that you have the power of the ruby.
Yeah.
I could be unstoppable with the power of the ruby.
Which-
You're going to give it to me."
I don't think he could. I think it's mostly good for learning to juggle.
Yeah, why
and,
don't
like,
he? Maybe he's a bad. He's got writer's block. or
yeah,
something.
he's got
He
a
needs
play
that
he's working
ruby.
on.
So she says, "Heck no, no way. You
Yeah.
have to kill me first."
Yep.
So then he threatens her and starts threatening some other people. Oh, he does his
The-
sword moves.
Oh,
He threatens her
oh!
with his sword moves.
He walks up to a wagon and he's like, and he like acts like he's gonna stab and then
Yeah,
backs
fake-
up and then he's like, and he
And
does it.
you're, oh,
like,
now he's gonna do it.
he does it like 4 times.
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 times before he actually stabs
and then
someone.
he kills a woman. He stabs a woman in the
Yeah.
stomach, or I guess we don't know that she died. It was a stomach.
She's gone.
Okay,
Just let her go.
infection, I guess.
Just let her go.
Yeah.
But now the stakes are raised, and then 2 little boys
Yep.
leap out of the wagon
Bite his fingers
and
off.
bite his fingers off.
Yeah,
And
he's mad as hell.
He's really pissed. So he's like, "You better just kill those kids right now."
Mm-hmm.
And the queen says, "Please don't. Those are
Do whatever you want
orphans.
to
I
me."
found them on the road.
Yeah,
they mean more
yeah.
to me than anything else."
Yeah, so the barbarians, and then there's the girl who's later revealed to be Eastmen or whatever is the other orphan.
I don't know how they
It doesn't
expected us to
matter.
know
It doesn't
anyone's name.
matter.
They didn't tell us anyone's name. I didn't know
No,
anyone's
yeah.
name. So she agrees. She's like, "Fine, I'll be your queen, but you can't hurt them." So then
Mhm.
Kadar really didn't have to, but then
Yep.
shouts in front of everyone, "Not my hand or any of my subjects' hands will ever cause harm to these boys as long as you are
Yeah.
faithful to me."
Remember those fingers being bit off?
That
Very important.
you
later.
think you say,
super important.
"Oh, there just goes some fingers.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they don't mean anything.
Oh, they mean something.
They're gonna mean something
Also,
big
keep in
time."
mind, I believe his index finger is still intact.
I
which
don't
also
was
seems
it? I thought it was.
was it
middle
these
and
2, or was
index?
it- I thought it was.
Oh, maybe it was.
Oh no! I thought it was these 2. I thought it was like.
Either way, it was
Just
a
remember.
plastic hand that he's clearly
Yes,
holding with
yes.
his other hand.
Remember that some fingers are missing.
Some
from one
fingers.
hand.
So they say, "Sounds good." Also, at this point, we also get our first look at Ibar, who looks like Queen Amidala
Oh.
if she was stretched in one direction on Photoshop.
Is this the scary guy?
The terrifying
Yeah,
man.
Really eerie.
Really weird
It's
looking.
It's like if Paul Rubens was dressed as Queen Amidala and then stretched,
Yeah.
right?
And
It-
beaten nearly to death.
yeah.
Um,
Sickly.
An Italian
unpleasant.
actor who I'm sure is absolutely fantastic. Jarring because at some point someone refers to him as her husband, and we couldn't
Yeah, we
figure
both
how
were like,
how that works.
"Ugh."
We also don't know what his role is. Anyway, he's there. I just wanted to
He's
mention
there.
that he's there because he's going to keep popping up.
Yep.
So they all get taken back to the castle, the fortress,
Not
the
even. It's like
settlement?
It feels like they threw some tents in the middle of like a mountain pass or something,
Yeah.
maybe.
But this is where Kadar lives, and everyone seems pretty happy with it. Like they
Yeah.
don't really seem to mind it that much. They're a little bit debaucherous, but
Yeah, I don't.
we've-
It's not the usual thing of like, all the people in the village or the subjects are all, like hardworking, whatever, normal
Mhm.
people, and then you have like the evil guy at the top. It's like, no, they all just seem to be kind
They're
of
fine.
gross.
they're fine.
Well,
I mean, we find out later that some of those guys that you think are really cruddy or whatever actually have a lot of respect for the sex work industry.
oh, that's true. That is true.
So, I mean, what we do know
Yeah.
of them isn't really that bad. The only thing that seems
Uh-huh.
truly bad is that Kadar sits on a throne that's
Oh.
unnecessarily held up by like 7 or 8 dudes.
yeah.
And
He
it's
also,
not-
when he arrives in town, says, "The women are yours,"
for sure.
and they descend
for
upon.
sure. But we meet some of those women, and they seem pretty
they seem-
happy with their
yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
seems
The
like they're
harem.
well fed and
Yeah.
taken care of.
Painted head
Yeah,
to toe.
painted. Yeah,
Well, not head to toe.
sometimes just head to neck.
You can see the bikini
Yeah,
when
yeah.
when it goes up. You see the
Yeah. So either way, they're brought back, and then we meet the sorceress, his
Oh.
powerful sorceress.
Did you want to talk about the ring? the finger ring cut off real quick?
Sure.
You remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we get into town and it just cuts to a guy.
Right, I forgot. There was
Yeah.
one throwaway shot. Right.
It's just a throwaway of a guy cutting a ring off a corpse. Not one of the
No.
tribe, just a
Yeah.
corpse that was
Okay,
already there.
I remember why I forgot.
Yeah, he cuts the finger off, takes the ring. We cut back to the main action.
And we're back.
Yep. That's all.
Could have been a
That's all I
different
had.
movie. We
Yep.
don't know. So they have to do the whole kind of ceremony. He has to make a big deal about the fact that he's not gonna
Yeah.
kill these kids.
Mhm.
I guess to make sure the Queen Canary feels really good about everything. So the sorceress is like, "Are you sure? This seems like a bad idea." He cut off your fingers. She holds up the fingers.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I swears it. No one's gonna hurt these kids." We thought that seems like a stupid thing, but then we
Right.
found out there's a plan.
Oh, yes, there is.
And so the queen or the sorceress grinds up
China. That's who China is. They
Yeah.
keep saying China, and it's hard to
I
tell
didn't
if it
know,
was like
yeah.
they meant real China, like
No.
a country.
That's
It's
her
It's a
name.
person.
So she grinds up the fingers and then blows it
Yeah.
on the. These are the twins or the young barbarian brothers. We haven't even seen.
Oh yeah, they're like children at this point.
Yeah, they're children. And I made a note here. Couldn't find two kids that look the same and can act.
No. Nope.
Because they all they got to do is they're like, "Are you scared?" And they go, and they're just blank faces.
Yeah.
Like they
Which,
can't even react.
Actually, I mean, given
Like,
who they become,
sure.
it might be brilliant casting.
So basically, those kids are. She spits webbing on them for some reason,
Which
and-
does not do anything. That has no
or
effect
it
on
seals
what
their
happens
fate.
later.
It sets
Does
the
it?
course of time and space
Because they don't fall prey to that fate.
They're
we don't
imbued
know.
with the
We
power
don't
of his
know.
fingers.
Yeah.
and then they are sent. Here's the big. They're sent to the pit.
Yeah.
He'll let them live all right,
Yep.
but he's gonna make them work
gonna be
in
a bad
horrific,
life.
like slave camps,
Yeah.
moving rocks back and forth,
Mhm.
and they're handed over to the dirt master.
Yeah.
Their lord put in charge of their upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, yeah, it just involves moving rocks from place to place,
it's moving
digging
rocks
ditches,
around.
and then occasionally, every once in a while, the dirt master will put a helmet on some guy, bring that guy into a
Yes.
room, and then beat one of the kids.
Very important, those helmets and their color.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just beats the shit out
Yeah,
of these
separates
kids.
them,
Yep.
beats them, and then basically, like the snap of a finger, 10 years? What do we think? 10, maybe 12 years
yeah,
pass?
something like that. Yeah, in that range, I would say.
But only for those two boys.
Everyone else looks exactly. Yeah,
No,
nothing.
everyone-
no one else has aged.
Everyone else is unchanged. The world doesn't seem to change that
Nope.
much. Picks up right where it left off. And now we get the Barbarian brothers
They're back, and it.
fully realized.
Holy shit! They are gigantic.
They're big boys.
They cannot move
No.
at all.
No.
They can't. Their arms are permanent. They're like permanently T-posed.
Yeah.
They're in like a video game idling position. At
Which
all
is
times.
interesting because you see them as children hung from their wrists with their
Yeah.
hands above their head, and you would think that would actually kind of help their
Loosen
shoulder
them up.
mobility, but no.
not at
Heavens
all.
no.
Nope.
and
Also, I had a question
Go ahead.
there. I said, shouldn't everyone here is doing the same work? Why doesn't everyone look like this?
they must, I think there must have been something else that, because we found out that this was all part of a plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't an accident that they grew strong. This isn't like
Oh.
Conan. This isn't
Okay.
like how he defied the odds. You were
Right.
supposed to die on
Yeah.
that wheel.
But his
he
anger, yeah.
he defied the odds through his own sheer strength and rage that he became a mountain of a man. I
Mm-hmm.
think there was something. I think here's your slop. Maybe there's a little trend in there.
Yeah, a little
There's a little
D-ball.
some, little
Yeah,
test,
yeah.
something, you know, something's going on. There's
Yeah.
a point where we see them like poking them with swords.
Yep.
Something's on that. Something that's not a sword that we're
It's a
looking
laced
at. There's
sword,
something
yeah,
on there.
for
So
sure.
I think there was a plan in place because now they are very, very big and very, very large. And that's when we find out this was all part of a scheme because
Yep.
Kadar, he said, listen, I won't kill him and none of my people will. But
Damn.
what I will do is I'll put the helmets on
Mhm.
them, put them in a fighting pit, and unleash them on each other.
And it's not a pit.
Oh, no.
It's a hallway?
Alley?
An
A fighting alley?
Yeah, with like spikes and people sticking their heads through it. and
Yeah.
It's like a latticed kind of thing.
It's really not well filmed.
Guy gets his hand cut off because
Well,
he's
he's
sticking his
reaching
hand. He's
through.
reaching
What's he
through.
thinking?
Exactly. These people are sticking their heads in
Yeah.
as two
Foolish.
wailing idiot gorillas bash each other with swords.
So this is the first time we get to see the Barbarian brothers truly in action, and it's clear that they did not spend a single second learning how to do any. Like you see
Anything.
Arnold Arnold with the
Yeah.
sword. He's doing stuff.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
looks great.
He put in work.
They didn't. I think that may have on screen was the first time they ever picked up a sword, and they're
Or-
just bumping into each other.
Yeah,
Clunky.
it's bad.
It's really bad, but a blast to watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
uh,
have it any other way.
They figure it out pretty quick
Mhm.
that who they are, and this is the first of the like. I mean, they have maybe between them 6 lines of dialogue the entire movie.
Scripted
The
at least.
stars of
Yeah,
the movie. It's mostly back and forth between the two of them.
Mhm.
Like, you're an idiot. No, you're an
You're a
idiot.
bonehead.
You're a bone. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And this is the first of that. They figure out who they are, and then
Basically, just break
escape?
out. They just
leave.
They just leave because they
Yeah,
want to. Yeah, they
yeah.
just grab a pole and they knock it over, and they grab a horse and they leave.
And those horses,
They were doing. Yeah, the
they're
horses were
putting
working.
in work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
because those guys don't. The footage is sped up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, however quickly they're moving on the horse, clearly they were going slower. But those horses, there's no way those guys knew how to ride. They didn't know how to swing a sword. They didn't know how to do anything.
Nothing. And or act.
But my God, did they look great on
But are they
camera.
huge? Are they ever huge?
And they're free now. And we're going to hear
Yeah.
what they do with that freedom right after another break. So they've escaped.
yes.
They're out into the woods, not more than a quarter mile away
Mhm.
from the fortress. Do
Yep.
we discover that there's an
There's-
encampment?
Of their people.
It's the what are they called?
There
The
they are.
Ragnicks.
They're right there.
The Ragnicks are there. There's
right
someone
outside of
trapped.
town.
They're right outside of town.
Mhm.
They are unchanged. Nothing's changed except
Nope.
they're not jolly anymore.
Yeah, they're sad now. They don't juggle anymore. From what
But
I
the
could
clown
tell.
still looks like a clown.
They still wear all their makeup. Yeah, they still
they
put on their clown makeup. every
They
now
have
and
their
then, yeah.
fanfare,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Queen Amidala's still there.
Yep.
And so they made a big point of saying that they were trying to like kind of brainwash the Barbarian brothers so that way they wouldn't even know each other. But then quickly they remember everything and their
Yeah.
past and who they were. So when they find this thing, they're like, oh, it's I have to look it up. Ragnick's
Mhm.
camp.
Yeah,
Oh,
immediately.
there's all our friends. It's us, the two guys. And they're like, nice try. You were kids last time we saw you.
Yeah, and they try to hang them.
So they try and hang them. And then
And the
also the
girl,
other
yeah.
woman is who we now, I
Yeah.
wrote her down as the person she's revealed to be at the
Yes.
end of the movie. But we're surprised to discover is mean or whatever. And so they try and hang them. And how does that go, Patrick?
Well, they kick the one off the cliff that there. It's not a cliff. It's like
Just
a
makeshift
stone,
thing or a
hill.
wagon
Yeah.
or something.
He grunts very loudly. He goes, I can't even do it. I don't even remember what he
You
said.
called it a braying.
a bray, like a donkey
bray,
Yeah,
yeah.
he like does this horrible noise.
Mhm.
And then flexes his neck so hard that the noose snaps and he
Yep.
falls to the ground. And it was at this moment where he keeps braying and then just smiles straight into the camera for like
Li-
3 full seconds.
Lying on the ground.
Silent.
He and his brother are so proud of each other for not being able to be hung that
Yeah.
they're just get,
And then just
and then he smiles into the camera, and it's pretty fantastic.
cut back to, yeah.
We had to rewind that.
I did, yeah. It's probably my favorite moment of the movie.
Mhm. And then the other brother does basically the same thing. He like flexes, I think, his
Yeah, he
hands off
pops
of it,
the-
and he
yeah.
rips the tree down.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
then-
the entire tree basically falls
And
down.
then they're like cuddling each other. And I made a
Oh,
note
yeah.
here that there's so much sexual tension between these two brothers.
These two twins.
And
There really is, yeah. They
And
like each other.
so now, but then because of their positioning or whatever, someone sees a tattoo on the back of their neck.
That
that's
identifies them as
Ragnick or whatever. Which you
Ragnicks.
would think if they tattoo everyone in their tribe,
Just
that's
check.
the easiest way.
If someone comes and says, "Hey, I'm this person," just
Let's
check.
your neck.
Okay, done. We're not gonna hang you now.
Well, either way, now they're welcome back in, and they also say like, "Hey, this other woman who you're with, I guess she's cool too.
Nope.
Don't check her neck."
Well, they had imprisoned her beforehand, but
because she
also
was
again,
trouble.
apparently had just never checked her neck.
Didn't
Didn't
check
know
her
who
neck.
she was.
And this time they didn't do it either.
Nope.
And she didn't say anything either.
Nope, she
which
didn't.
is
She
weird.
could all of them could have just said, "Hey, I have the tattoo.
Yeah.
Check it out."
No.
They didn't.
But either way, explain, they kind of catch up on the situation. The Barbarian brothers saw Queen Canary when they were battling in the fighting alley. So
Yeah, she's
they,
in the harem now.
they explain to
Yeah.
the tribe that the queen is still alive.
Yep.
And they're going to go get her out. And the tribe is like, good luck. So then the three of them go off because the woman is kind of like a thief. She's like an
guess.
unsavory
Yeah,
character
something like
with
that.
ties to the underworld. And she's like, hey, I can talk to some people who can get us some weapons and we can go fight our way in.
Yes.
So
They go to a strip club?
they go, yeah, well, she doesn't strip, but she dances.
It's
a cantina of sorts with
Yeah.
some live dancing
Yeah.
and people and a lot of dubbed over Italian actors.
All of them.
Basically everyone.
Everyone in this movie.
And you say, oh, this is interesting. They're going to like get in over their head or they're going to do something stupid or whatever. They try and pay with money like normal people.
Yep.
And the guy
says-
refuses to accept it.
Yep. He says, you overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
They say they get into one of their back and forths with each
A
other.
banter,
But,
yeah,
oh, you
improvised
always
banter.
overdo it, which they haven't seen each other for 10, 12 years.
Don't know what they're talking about.
You don't know each other anymore.
No, they have no
You
relationship.
don't know that he always overdoes it because you.
No. They're talking about
What the
back on
hell
Rhode
are you
Island.
Oh,
Back in
okay,
Rhode
okay,
Island.
Yeah, yeah.
When they were on the wrestling team.
That makes
together.
sense. And yeah, and then they get in like a fight with the guy
He
over
says,
nothing.
let's arm wrestle.
Yeah, for
He
why?
says, don't
Why?
pay me.
For
Let's
what?
arm wrestle. And he picks the two biggest fuckers
Fucking apes.
he's ever
Like-
seen. And he's like, I bet I could beat you in an arm wrestling competition. And then he loses. And then he gets pissed
Yeah,
off.
Of course.
And a fight breaks out.
Yeah. What was he thinking? What
I
was
don't know.
Jacko thinking? His name is Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko. Jacko, which was actually also the name of the apes who did all of the blocking for the Barbarian brothers. Because this is the point in the movie where we realize that they could be monkeys.
Yeah.
They could film this whole movie with
It would've been
chimps,
so much more charming too.
and they continue their chimpish behavior throughout the rest of this film.
Yep.
They leave without any weapons.
It's not like okay, yeah, you know, it's a big guy, it's a big dumb guy, he's a gorilla. No. They behave like like great apes. Like,
The way they touch things is they have that like curl hand. You know, apes always touch things with the back of their fingers. They start doing that in the movie. And there are points where they silently approach women and go, and they just make little ape noises. That's what they do. This isn't a bit. They do this.
They're literally like apes. They are gorillas. It's crazy.
It would have been awesome. This movie would have been awesome if they did just we found two great apes and we just had them star in this movie. I would be like, wow, this is incredible.
They would have done as good a job.
Yeah.
When he climbs into bed and gives like that woman a little like
There you
kiss.
go.
It's like a little exploratory kiss. Just-
The big lips. And then he like touches, I think he touches her breast. We're getting ahead. We skipped
know,
the
we're
whole
so
scene.
far ahead.
So they go in, they break into the fortress where she's
Yeah.
kept because they know a secret path. They go in there and the Queen Canary is kept in a harem,
Yep.
but she's in a special cage and all of the other women are asleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a point earlier in this where they pass a guard who is like, are you a prostitute? To the other woman.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, maybe I am. And he's like, good for you.
Is that cool? Yeah. All right. See ya.
Respect.
Yeah.
And so now they're in this harem, so they're surrounded by all these beautiful women.
This is where the ape behavior really.
Starts to show up.
Yeah. He crawls into bed. Like he like takes a blanket off a woman, crawls into bed with her, and like paws at her.
Well, so
breast.
on the way in, he sees there's a naked woman outside the camp, and she's like, "Ooh,
Oh,
come
yeah,
hither!"
yeah.
And then they start braying.
Yep.
And they start praying, and the other
Yep.
woman has to say, "We have a mission to do."
Yeah.
So then they get into the harem, and then in the harem there's another topless woman,
Mhm.
and then one of the brothers immediately tries to
Like,
climb
gets in bed.
into bed with her, and the other brother goes,
Yeah.
and like Silver backs him away,
Yep.
and then they see the Queen Canary.
But not before he gives her a little kiss. Or maybe he doesn't.
No, that's on the way. I think that's on. Oh,
I think he tries to give
right,
a kiss
right.
on the
he
way.
covers her.
Yeah.
He covers her and gives her a little kiss,
Yes.
a little monkey kiss.
Yep.
And then they go to Queen Canary, and then she's like, "Oh my God, it's the two. I'm so proud of
She
you."
recognizes them instantly.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad you're safe," and all
Mm-hmm.
these things. She gives them all. She's like, "Here's where the ruby is. It's in this swamp. It's protected by a dragon."
Yep.
But to fight that dragon, you're going to need some weaponry. So I guess she tells them that there's a place that they can go to, ruins that has ancient weapons that they can find.
I thought it would be like the glaive from Krull.
Oh.
Right? Like some magical, like
Yeah.
it's a magical no, it's just an axe and a sword.
It's an axe and a
Nothing
sword,
special.
both of which flop.
Oh,
when
they're
you move
wiggly.
too
They're
quickly. They
wiggly,
look like
yeah,
Nerf.
wiggly wobbly.
And so she gives them all this stuff, and she's like, "Please, the fate of our world. If Kadar or the
Mhm.
sorceress gets their hands on this ruby, the whole world can fall into darkness.
Anyone could juggle.
Anyone could juggle. It would no longer be a skill held only for the best.
Mhm.
And they say, got it. And then immediately walk back to the woman that they covered. He uncovers her.
Same room as their adopted mother.
She's watching through the bars of her cage.
Yep.
As then they go and then they climb in. She wakes up. She's like, oh, and then they tumble into the bed.
She's ready to go instantly.
All the harem now begin to climb on them, and they have an orgy directly there in front of the queen,
In front of their adopted mother, the queen.
who just said, "You are my last." Basically, you're my last hope.
Yes. Wild.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? They're apes.
Yeah, they don't know any better.
Apes. And then there's just a hard cut, and it picks back up, and now the other woman, she's waiting for them outside. They re-show up. They're in a wheelbarrow for no reason now. She's like, what took you so long? And then he reveals the other guy, and he goes,
Yeah, and that's it. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What the? You didn't say anything.
But they're off.
I wrote down at this point lots of smiles from the barbarians.
Yeah, yeah.
They love smiling at each other, giving each other little smiles. And
I just want to reread my last 3 bullet points. Oh, we didn't even talk about when they pick up the sleeping woman.
Oh, that's my favorite part of the movie. That's my favorite part of the movie. They go into. Oh, I think that is basically where we're at. It's like
when they're sneaking in. This is what they do because they need to grab blankets or robes. So there's a woman sleeping on a box, and the only way to get the sleeping woman.
So one of the barbarians picks this woman up and lifts her, like still asleep. It's like, oh, I'm lifting her up and not waking her up. She is stiff as a board.
Yeah.
Her legs are crossed.
That's how people sleep. Though,
her feet are crossed. She is visibly, every muscle is activated in her
she's
body.
asleep.
She is wide awake while this is happening. And then he sets her back down, and it's supposed to be like, wow, he's so strong. He can just lift a woman and set her back down. She doesn't even wake up. It's like, no, that woman is flexing every single muscle in her body.
I wouldn't be surprised.
She had to ice for a week after that.
I wouldn't be surprised if that actress was asleep the whole time. So my bullet point right after that is sees a naked woman and starts honking like a goose. And then my bullet point after that is they're like chimps. Either way, they go off on their journey.
Yep.
They're joking around, and then we hard cut to the queen who has been sold out by someone in the harem, and she's getting whipped to hell.
Yep.
She's getting whipped to hell by the sorceress, who now is aware of her secret plan and then goes off to try and on her own.
She gets the location of the ruby.
Yeah, she heard it, or because she was telling the barbarians, and they probably oinked something or muttered something while they were having that orgy.
They signed it to her.
Yeah.
Chimp yeah.
They drew the map on her palm with the back of their hand. And so she's getting whipped, and then the sorceress goes, okay, I forget this Kadar guy. I'm gonna go get the ruby myself. So she and Dirtmaster hit the road to try and get the ruby. And then shortly after that, Kadar comes in and he goes, "Who whipped my queen?" He's pissed. Yeah. But then he's like, "I'm gonna get the ruby." So then they pack up, and now it's a race to the ruby. And then it's just kind of a smattering of things. They end up.
It really falls off hard after this. There's one good when they're in the like the
ruins,
sword.
Like the ruins where the weapons are.
It's like a deep ruin that they have to jump down into.
Yeah.
There's something comes out of the ground, like these arms come out of the ground. They chop them off.
They rip them right off.
We see like a head, kind of like
there's something
growl.
watching them. Yeah, like you even mentioned Munchie, which we've done in a previous episode, and how it looked way better.
It looked way better than Munchie.
Like its mouth was moving.
It
Its
didn't look
face
great.
was moving. No,
but its mouth could move.
Yeah,
like it could move.
And so they're being watched, and you're like, oh shit.
And you think, oh, this is going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're at the bottom of this pit, essentially. It's like this Wolfman kind of thing. It's
pops out,
jumps down, barbarian, boom, cuts its head off.
Yeah, one shot,
over,
boom,
instantly.
Gone. And then they start. Then they take the head.
Oh yeah.
And they start braying at each other. At the
he
woman.
shoves it in the woman's face.
Yeah.
It's so aggressive. It's just like he's showing off a kill to a mate. It's all they are apes.
Then they start pulling small mites off of each other and start eating them. But so you think it's going to be a big thing. It's not a
Nope.
big thing. But while they're doing this, the sorceress does make it to the ruby.
Yeah.
She finds it in this dangerous looking swamp filled with swamp monsters and everything like that.
The H.R. Giger headed.
Yeah, weird
things.
things that come out of the water. And then the Dirt Master turns and sees something, and I didn't even understand it in the moment, but you see a flash of like a weird phallic.
It's like if an uncircumcised penis had a crocodile's head at
you
the
can
end
just
of
say
it.
penis. You can just say penis.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it has kind eyes.
It does. Oh yeah, it has. You said it has Muppet eyes.
Yeah.
It really does have like goofy
Mhm.
puppet eyes.
So shortly after, the barbarians show up, just a little bit too late, and there's a climactic battle, which we're gonna get into after one final break. So the barbarians are in the swamp. The
Mhm.
ruby's gone. What are they gonna do? The swamp monsters show up again.
Yep.
I think they're defeated, or they just leave.
Yeah, or they're like shoved down and don't come back out of the muck.
Something.
It's-
But
yeah.
who does show up are the guy whose face is messed up
Yes.
and the guy whose mouth is messed
Who
up.
I had thought both of them had died.
I thought
twice
so
already.
too. Unibrow's gone. I don't think we ever
He
see
might
him.
be dead.
I don't remember. I don't
Yeah.
recall. But either way, we have yet another sword fighting sequence with the barbarians, which mostly amounts to like kind of a pro wrestling feats of strength.
Yeah.
Like no one uses anyone's swords, and then those two other guys killing themselves in an embarrassing way.
Yes.
One
cuts his own throat.
accidentally slits
Yeah.
his own throat, and I don't even remember how the other one dies.
I don't. Yeah. I
The axe chops him somewhere or whatever.
Probably.
It's you're like, here we go. This is gonna be it. They don't do anything, but there's a rumbling. A giant
Out comes the big
uncircumcised, aka
alligator.
standard penis,
Standard regular.
raises out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
moving less than a mile per hour.
It
like
is real slow.
it can't go anywhere.
It's so slow, and combined with the kind eyes that we mentioned, I didn't realize it was like a threat
I didn't think so either.
until they were stabbing it.
I thought there was a point where it was going to say that it had like saved the ruby, like the
Right.
ruby.
Yeah.
you are the rightful heir of the ruby.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be
Which-
like the turtle in Neverending Story or something.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's
it's
gonna
just some
sneeze on
like
ya.
wise creature.
Which, to be fair, that may have been its
It could have
purpose.
been.
Because we didn't get to see it very long to
Nope.
find out. Basically, the plan was that they would jump down into a pit, and then
The
the
woman
thing,
would lure it.
The woman would lure it. It would crawl over top, and then they just gutted it.
Yeah,
That's their magic
Yeah.
weapons
yeah,
that
yeah,
they had
yeah.
that they went to go get were just the same as if you just had the most crude butcher
A
knife.
rusty scissors would have
Yeah.
done it. Yeah,
And it spills its guts out onto them, and then
Yep.
for no obvious reason, they decide, let's climb up
let's
in
get
there.
inside. So
And when it worked out.
they find the wizard in there, who I don't think we saw get eaten. So
No.
I was surprised
Yeah.
to see her there. I thought she had just left,
I thought she left too.
but no, she was eaten. So they get the stone from her though. They get the
Yeah.
ruby.
It all works out.
It works out.
Their hideous,
Yeah.
chimp-like nature, like they were probably just going to go up there and do something heinous.
I think. Yeah.
But it turned out they got the ruby, and then they hit the bricks. They're on the move.
They're out of there.
But then they stopped going on them. We were confused about this. They give the
Mm.
ruby to Ismene, aka Kara,
Yes. I
to
guess.
take back to the tribe.
I think so. I think that's it.
And then they turn around, and we said, oh, well, they're going to go to the castle to break the queen out.
Yeah.
But then they don't, because the queen gets brought then to where the dead dragon was. Everyone goes to that dead dragon at some
Yeah.
point.
And then there's like another location that looks very similar that I think they also go, or maybe that is the same location. I just got confused
canyon?
because they keep going back.
The canyon, I think, is the same location from the beginning of the movie where they get
Yeah,
trapped.
yeah.
They get trapped in the canyon.
I thought there was another swamp though. Maybe it's the same swamp, but they go back so many times. Or like everyone there's so many
Yeah.
scenes in that swamp that
So Kadar goes there, and I think all of his people are killed. Well, she's the queen starts taunting him, saying like the ruby's gone. You're never gonna find it.
You'll never get it.
And he gets confused. She
Oh,
like realizes that as long as she's alive, the ruby will have. They
She-
throw a lot at you.
yes.
Moral of the story is he starts swinging his sword wildly again, like
She
he
can't
tends to
see.
do.
He's got like salvia vision.
and accidentally or kind of not so accidentally stabs her,
He's like stabbing at her,
but missing.
But then when he does stab her,
He's like,
which she could have
oops.
just moved out of the way,
Yeah.
he seems to feel bad about it. So I don't know why he was.
And it seemed like she was
Stabbing.
intended to be stabbed, but also was shocked that she ended up getting stabbed.
Yeah.
A lot happened at the end.
Yeah.
Either way, she dies in his
Mhm.
arms, and it's kind of romantic, even though he's enslaved her for the last 10 to 12 years.
Mhm.
And when she dies, the ruby loses its power. It becomes just a regular old
rock.
stone
Yeah.
that they don't show it become.
Yeah. Nope. You never see it as a stone. It's just told to
They
you.
just tell you.
Yep.
And so she's dead, and so then you have a couple things happening simultaneously. On the one side, you see the Ragniks and Kara like going like, the stone has no power, we're
Yeah.
ruined. But then it starts to glow again.
She just drops it.
Yeah.
Or something. But
And then Pee-wee Amidala,
Nightmare Pee-wee. Yeah.
Nightmare Pee-wee Amidala says, "Oh, we need a new queen," and then says one of my favorite lines from the whole movie, which is, "Bring all the virgins,"
Yep.
which are 2.
There's 2.
They're shocked to discover
Yeah.
only 2 remain. And so they test the ruby to see who's going to be their new queen by doing the most logical thing.
They stick it in their belly button.
Yep. Not before
And-
licking it too.
Oh yeah, he licks
He
it,
licks it.
sticks it in their belly button, and then you can see that it's like close-ups on their stomachs.
Yeah.
And you can see them like
They're holding it in.
trying to keep it.
They're trying.
Yeah. Falls out though.
But it's the same technique that you would do to like get a spoon to stay on your nose.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know how it proves
I don't know
anything.
that magic was involved, or if
Yeah.
it was just, can you hold this? If you can hold it for 30 seconds, you
Yeah.
get to be queen.
So the 2 virgins fail, and
Yeah.
then they look at Ismene / Kara, and then they
Yes.
say, "She's got a belly button."
Yeah.
And so they grab her. And
They
she's like,
grab
"Leave
her
me
and snatch
alone!"
her.
And they stick it. He licks it real nasty.
Ugh.
It sticks it on her, and it stays.
Yeah.
Turns out she's the queen.
There it is.
First order of business: kill all the people that just grabbed her.
Yep.
No, she doesn't do
Nah,
that.
I
But
wish.
they also, at the same time, find out. They check her neck, and they go, "Oh wait, you're one of us. This is great."
And she's like, yeah, I am.
But she also says she's
Why-
not a virgin.
She's very clear that she's not a virgin.
So I don't know
And
what the deal is.
Nightmare Pee-wee says like, we can't get into semantics now or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, why did you bring it up in the first place?
Yeah,
then?
she's like,
Just test everyone.
I
Why-
slept with 2 apes last night.
Yeah. Kind of, if you
they
call
ran
it that.
they ran the backs of their fingers across my body.
She
Well,
enjoyed having sex with them, but you know afterwards she's sitting there and just under like the power. If one of them decides to go off,
Oh my god, yeah.
it's
Well, also there's a point during, I can only imagine, the unfilmed sex scene,
Uh-huh.
which isn't in this movie, where like one shoved the other, like
Yeah.
during like, and she was like, "Is this
Oh.
it? This could be it.
I might die. Right
If I get caught in this
Yeah.
hurricane."
yeah, it's like no.
Whatever it is, it's like that.
I was gonna say it's like The Boys, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
When it's just constant horrors of like what that would be like, just
Yes.
people running through
The
people.
strength, the power,
That's what this would be.
evisceration.
Yes, they don't even know you're there.
No.
Okay, and you're just gonna be. Boom.
It's
over.
You be obliterated.
Yep.
That's the only way to describe it. Either way,
Mhm.
they're somewhere else. They have a showdown with Kadar, and let me tell you, for
Whoa.
the end of a movie, they couldn't do any better than this.
This is bad.
Question mark.
Yeah, yeah.
Kadar's on a horse, and the 2 of them are on their feet.
Yep.
And well, why don't you take us through the
I
first
mean,
phase? There's many phases.
The
of this
first
battle.
phase is he's blinding them with a shield. They're
Mhm.
just standing next to each other, holding their, again, like apes who just
Yeah.
encountered tools for the first time,
Yeah.
are holding them. He shines light in their eyes. I think he runs by and he might hurt one of them, but
Well, they
he-
smash it.
Oh,
He
that's
comes
right.
by and they immediately they're
Is
like,
it a punch or is it like a?
I think he uses the axe or something, and
Which-
he breaks his
that
shield.
guy's arm is shattered.
I know, yeah.
for sure.
Well, he thought he was so confident too in the first
Yeah.
pass, and then when they smashed his shield, he was like, "Oh boy,
Oh no!
this is
yeah,
trouble."
yeah.
The apes are strong.
Uh-huh.
The apes are strong, and so he looks back and he sees these 2 guys ready to take him on, and they're hunched over, kind of with their arms
Yeah.
dangling by their side. They're angry, anger in their eyes.
So he like faces away from them.
Attempts a different technique,
And
turns his
they-
back to them.
I guess like apes,
Yeah, they
just approach.
yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. They want to smell.
Yeah,
Maybe they
yeah.
see some mites on his back
Yeah,
that they
they
want to
wanna-
pull off.
He does like a 180 on the horse and 2 knives. Whooshing.
Yeah, cuts them on their sides.
And they're but it's not a bad.
It's really not
it's
that
very
bad. It's
survivable
flesh
wound,
wound.
yeah.
And for apes of that size,
And it's nothing.
no.
And then we were saying the funniest thing would be if he just kept trying that same move. 'Cause I think it
Yeah,
would've
every
worked.
single
I
time
think
he
it would've
turns around.
worked.
He also,
Yeah.
you see his eyes darting
Yeah,
back
he's
and forth,
gotta-
like, are they going to fall for it? And so then he just, he pulls out his sword. He tries to
Yeah.
go at him again. One of them, they go, apes don't use tools.
Yeah.
And they look at their hands. So when he comes by with the sword, one just grabs the horse
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
shakes it.
Tears the horse down.
Yeah.
Brings the horse to
Yeah.
the ground. Not him.
Yeah.
The horse.
Yeah. He leaps upon the horse and then does that thing where he drops his knuckles on him over, beats the horse to death, screaming, screeching.
Yep.
The whole jungle rattles. And so now he doesn't even have his horse. He doesn't have his
he
horse.
is-
He doesn't have his sword.
He's already dead at this
He
point.
doesn't have anything. So then what's he gonna do? He pulls out the crossbow. Now
A little crossbow.
It's a small
crossbow. Yeah, yeah.
crossbow, but there's 2 of them anyway.
Right.
So he's kind of like holding them at
he
bay.
gets to take out one.
Who's he gonna shoot at? It's unclear.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens, Patrick?
Tries to pull the trigger.
What happens when he tries to pull the trigger?
Do you remember when we told everyone earlier to remember that he had 2 fingers bitten off 10 to 12 years ago?
I do remember that.
Okay, he
Patrick.
forgot.
Yeah.
And forgot that he doesn't have a finger to pull the trigger.
Dang it! It happens too often.
Often. He goes for it and it like looks at his head and is like, ah!
There's nothing he can do.
I can't do anything.
There's nothing he
He's
can
got
do.
a left hand.
Yeah.
He has another hand he
Yep.
could have used.
So they do my favorite thing that fantasy movies do when the actors with swords don't know how to use swords is they throw the sword.
Yep.
Which
Tosses
I
it.
don't think has ever happened in a historical battle ever where someone is like, this is a good idea.
Like a
and then
spear.
tosses the
Yeah.
sword like a spear, stabs him, kills him,
Instantly.
and that's it. And
That's
he's
basically the
done.
movie, yeah.
Then I think the last thing we see is them back in their caravan. Laughter
Yeah, they
and joy.
rejoin. They're on the road
Yeah.
again. Whatever. There was a
And-
whole thing about the caravan being like magically bound with vines.
Oh,
we don't.
yeah,
it
who
doesn't.
cares?
Who cares?
Who
Shit.
cares? No
But
one
it's
gives a
out now. They're free.
They were like,
happy
oh,
there.
we don't know how to make jokes. We don't know how to juggle anymore because we don't have our ruby. Now
Yeah.
we know how to juggle
It's
again.
great.
So they're
Ooh,
going
yeah,
off.
more clowns is what we need in the world.
And then you get one final scene showcasing the charisma of our 3 leads.
Yeah.
And it's
They
basically
don't got it. They don't got it.
basically one of the brothers who we don't know which is which.
Uh-huh.
One has the reins of the wagon, and
Yes.
the other one has the
The
thing,
little whip, little
that
horse
horse.
whip. Yeah.
And then one goes, I want to do the reins.
And they pass it.
So they pass it, but it's in real time, so it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do that.
I don't like the reins. I want this.
I don't like the reins.
Which they'd already done with the sword and axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he takes it, they pass it back, and then a freeze frame with them all laughing together and this end credits song about rubies.
Yeah, very on the nose, but
Yeah.
about a woman named Ruby, it sounds like
Something
pretty
like
clearly.
that. Yeah. They wanted Ruby Tuesday by the Rolling Stones.
No
They
way.
couldn't get it.
No way.
And that's the Barbarians.
It's pretty good. I'd recommend.
I was
yeah.
gonna say, yeah. So our
Yeah.
final thoughts. Well, do we want to do our recommendation? I feel like we should save the physique critique. This is the most important
Hold it.
part.
Hold it.
So-
That's yeah.
Let me ask you: do you
Yes.
recommend this film?
I do. I think maybe it's a little bit of bias now, but if you put a lot of not CG, practical effect
Mhm.
monsters in front of me, even if they kind of suck,
Mhm.
which they do in this.
Yeah.
I'm in. I
That's
like
okay.
it. I like it.
That's okay.
I thought the set design was actually pretty all right for like a chunk of the movie.
Yeah,
I wrote down this movie gets way worse when the Barbarian brothers show up.
it does. It really
It
does.
immediately tanks. Like it's. I mean, it's not going to great heights, but it's like a Hawk the Slayer whatever
Mhm.
kind of level
Yeah.
shitty 80s
Yeah.
fantasy movie, and then it's just like the brakes get slammed on when they show up.
Yeah,
And yes, they kind of make the movie, but also
they kind
they
of ruin
really don't have anything going
it.
on.
No.
Like they are apes, as we said.
And they banter with each other. At a certain point halfway through, we were like, this would make more sense if they were a couple of New Jersey bodybuilders who accidentally
Like
went
time
back in
travel.
time to
Yeah.
this fantasy realm and were unwittingly now the heroes of this story because that would have made more sense because the way they interact with this world is not
No.
genuine. They don't belong here.
Yeah.
in any
it
way,
doesn't
shape,
make
or
any
form.
sense. I feel like there's a really good documentary to be made about all the bodybuilders who came out to LA in the wake of Arnold Schwarzenegger and didn't quite make it.
Oof. Yeah.
I feel like there's something there. If
There's
someone wants to
definitely
do
something
it,
there.
I'll watch it.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I can't do it.
But either way, I agree with you. There's definitely set aspect and production design aspect that makes this a lot of fun. And it does my favorite thing, which is at some point during the movie, you turn to me and you say, how much do you think is left? And I say 15, 20 minutes, and it's
Dead on.
exactly that. So yeah, I also recommend it. Chase scene. We have a history of all these movies have chase scenes.
Yes, they do.
The opening,
Actually, a pretty
good.
cool.
I was
mean,
only a little confused in the moment because I thought it was a movie called The Barbarian Brothers, and we
Right.
were watching a bunch of clowns
Clowns.
try and outrun weird.
but like, the carts look cool. I mean, the makeup is cheap, but it's fine for this type of movie
Yeah.
for what you're watching. And like, but yeah, I mean, it's like the camera's mounted on something
Fine.
moving. It's like there's a lot of there is like a lot of movement.
Yeah,
A lot of handheld camera.
yeah.
It's a good, cool chase
That
scene,
stuntman's never gonna walk again.
No, his legs are shattered.
So I mean, that's something. So
Yeah.
great, at least one great chase scene.
yeah.
And then now we're gonna get into the most important part, the physique critique. We're dealing with
I mean, how do you even-
240, probably 242, between 230, 240 pounds of pure muscle,
Yeah.
trend powered.
Yeah. No,
These
yeah.
guys are juiced.
Well,
out of the
hang
gourd.
on. Because according to them, 36 eggs and amino acid capsules and chocolate milk.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Okay.
I was like,
You suspect though that maybe there was something else. In
I
the
love
mix.
my favorite thing is amino acid capsules.
I don't
like-
even know what that means.
It's just something else that
Isn't
you
the
can
shit
add.
that like repairs your muscles, kind of?
It's
a little
bullshit.
bit?
It's all bullshit.
Okay, cool.
It means nothing. The
Okay.
eggs, sure. Eggs
Yeah,
are,
protein, yeah.
I mean, amino acids are protein kind of as well, but
Yep.
like the eggs, sure. There's
Mhm.
calories there that you can consume that your body can use.
Yeah.
No, it was the trend. Trend is how they got to where they are. I respect their strength. There was not enough,
Yeah.
maybe for me, not enough displays of strength in this.
That is strange, isn't
Lifting up the woman. They could have done like a wagon thing, or
it? Yeah.
he dragged down a horse and he lifted a woman over his head, and that was about it.
Everything else is fake.
Everything
Like,
else
they
is
lift
fake.
giant rocks, but they're really obvious. It's paper mache.
Yeah,
Very visibly paper
and
mache.
they can't move, so that's a
Yeah,
strike
that's
against
that
them.
also a favorite part of that movie is they cannot move at all.
No,
And their body, like they're tripping a lot.
yeah,
It's
they're stumbling. What the guy with the sword can barely get his hands together to do like the pose with the sword. He can barely get his hands to touch in the front.
Yeah.
And yeah, so all that aside, I would definitely put their physiques 8.5. These guys
8.5 out
look
of
great.
10.
They look great.
Where did they lose points?
I would love to have seen them both exactly the same. That was kind of
right.
a thing
One
for
is a
me,
little smaller.
and it
Yeah.
bothered me.
Yeah, yeah.
because I
yeah.
was constantly thinking about what that dialogue must be like.
Yep.
And I hate that them walking around makes bodybuilding look worse because they have no mobility. So they
Yeah.
lost a few points there.
Just go to a yoga class now. Throw a yoga
can
class
do
into your week.
Muscles aren't stiff.
Right?
They're malleable, just like anything
Yeah.
else.
Just throw in a yoga class or just it's some stretching. It's-
Mobility, some
It's
mobility.
like 30
strength
minutes.
through
You
range
need
of
like
motion.
30 minutes.
Nothing. But I'm gonna go 8.5.
Okay, that's good. That's high.
8.5.
Very
They
high.
look great. I would say probably the highest rank that we've seen. Definitely better than shirtless Jesse Ventura in a bed talking to a child.
Do you want to hear a story?
Yeah.
It's about two barbarian brothers who came to America. Oh, wait, no, they're from America.
From America.
Who traveled
the way from the country of Rhode
Island. They
Oh.
didn't make it.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this, the movie that we've probably been most excited about sharing with you. But we're not done yet by any stretch of the means. It's the holiday season. If you're watching this, when you're supposed to be watching this, is as soon as it comes out.
One of the most upcoming, most anticipated physique critiques, I think,
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
show.
You're talking about Hulk Hogan in his late 40s.
Hollywood Hogan in his 40s.
Yeah. That's prime physique. Next time, we'll be watching Santa with Muscles,
Yep.
1996.
Can't wait.
I don't think I've seen this, actually. I think I've
I haven't
seen
either. Actually,
Suburban Commando and
Nanny, what's the nanny one? Or Mr.
Mr. Nanny?
Mr.
Or is that Michael Keaton?
No, Michael Keaton's Mr. Mom?
That's it. I think it's
Is it what is
Mr.
the
Nanny, right? Either way, we're watching Santa with Muscles to ring in the holiday season. Please recommend, share, this podcast if you enjoyed it with other people who you think would also enjoy it as well. You can, of course, find us anywhere you get your podcasts.
That's
We didn't show up on anyone's Spotify of the
Wrapped.
year.
No.
Number of minutes
A
listened
lot of
to.
our friends' podcasts were on there.
I saw a bunch of podcasts.
Not us.
Some of your other
Not us.
podcasts were on there.
Well, yeah.
So, but nothing from us. So we want to see that going into 2024. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
I would like to put out a bounty. First of its kind, trash or trash
Okay.
bounty.
Yeah.
If anyone here can find the Barbarian Brothers workout tape, it's called the Barbarian Psych tape.
Okay.
I guess I'll give you a shout out.
We'll
I'm not
give
gonna
you a
offer
shout out.
cash,
I mean, I don't know how you would even
course.
pay that. So, yeah.
but a shout out.
Yeah.
Give me. I would love to see it. I could not find it anywhere on the internet. Even Googling it only took you to the Wikipedia that referenced it.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, these brothers, separate wikis, exact same text.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for one mentions that the other one is dead, or
Dead.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know. Share that with us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.
I'm gonna rise to the top.